Hello and welcome back, you crafty lot. I am so glad you can join us. This is a little bit special. This is the last of this round. Let's just say this round, it's not forever, of the Craft Your Stash shows. I think we will see these back again sometime because they have been so popular. You have absolutely loved these. Now, today's is a little bit special and it might look a little bit different to some of the others because this is Jan's take on Craft Your Stash. When we were given Craft Your Stash, we were told, this is your show, you do it your way. We were given a topic and away you go. So the topic we gave our Jan today had to be mixed media. So on that note, good afternoon, Jan. Are you all refreshed and reinvigorated?
I am. We've sort of had a bit of a break. We've had something to eat and drink. We're all good to go. And to be honest, I can't wait to get started on this because this is very much my style of crafting. The brief I was given was, it's your show, Jan. You do what you want to do. And I thought, oh, right, okay. So yeah, we've actually made something. I was just saying to Corrine, it's almost going to be like a little bit of a craft along, but without the person crafting along, if that makes any sense. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to go through and show you how I've actually made this. To me, Craft Your Stash was looking what was in your stash and what can you craft with it. So this is what I made, and it's a gorgeous, it can be a gift box, it can be, I'm actually hoping to end up with one of these, seeing as I'm going to remake it today and just have it as some kind of Christmas decoration, because it's a gorgeous little gift box with so much embellishments, which is what I'm going to go through during the course of the next couple of hours. But it's actually what we call an exploding box. So the sides fall down, they're not fastened together, and each one is decorated in that lovely vintage theme. And again, we've got a nice little centerpiece in the middle there with the 25th of December. And this is what I'm actually going to show you I'm going to show you my process basically of how I've gone through making this. Now, a lot of it is ready prep because you don't need to see me die cutting the same thing 4 times to cover 4 sides of a box. You don't need to see me doing all the cutting the flowers out. That's fairly self-explanatory. But what I want to do is show you how I've incorporated my mixed media into there, yeah. Corrine. So that's what I'm going to try and bring to the table today.
Exactly. This is all about mixed media. So we're going to focus on the mixed media elements of Jan's gorgeous project. I know there's gilding pastes, gilding waxes, there's glitter glues, there's lots of different mediums. She's got metal, she's got buttons, she's got sisal in there, there's card, there's paper, I've had a quick look, there's twine, there's everything. Because mixed media, at the end of the day, mixed media just means bringing together 2 or more different mediums. It's nothing to be frightened about. I think a lot of people look at mixed media and go, oh, it's not for me. It is. I bet you're doing mixed media in a very simple form every time you craft, because you're doing some inks, and then you might put some embossing powder on it, or you might put some gems on, or you might put a foam flower on. Well, straight away you're into mixed media. So mixed media can be as in-depth or as clean and simple as you like. And I tell you, that box really is beautiful. There's lots of you tuned in already. We've got Mary Ann Rosie, she says hi all. Mom King, good morning. First one's in, you certainly were. Karen Scheidhauer, I think that is, I'm not sure, sorry. Good morning. It's changed over to our Gracie on socials. Rachel is off for the rest of the day. It's our Grace here. So please keep commenting and she'll send them through. Kirsty D says, good afternoon, crafty friends. Betty Weaver's in from Idaho. Sandra Dundas, hi all, finally got my new specs this morning. Oh, that's good. Do we look better in clear? I hope we do. Yeah, we're looking good. Hope so. Joyce Box says, perfect timing. I just organised my scraps yesterday. And I bet you, when Jan comes into it, she'll tell you how she's got so much out of little bits of scraps and pieces.
Absolutely.
We've got Lois says, good morning for everyone from Ohio. Stephanie Theodos is in from Farmingdale, New Jersey. Betty Throp Black says, good morning from Houston, Texas, where we are finally getting some fall weather. I'm out walking and taking you 2 gals with me. Oh, that's nice.
There you
See,
go.
It's amazing where people watch us. Yeah. Rosalind Russell says, hello from Maryland, everyone. Teresa Campbell's in, good morning. Zoe Carver's in from a sunny West Sussex. Stephanie saying hi to everyone. Phil Watson says good afternoon. Alicia Gordon is in, good morning and greetings. Getting ready for church while listening to my favourite channel. Well, thank you. Paul Print Times 4 says good day again from South Carolina. good to have you back. Rosalind Russell says, I love mixed media. That's the way I use a lot of scrap craft items. It certainly is. Jeffrey Langley says, happy Sunday, Corrine and Jan and the great super fantastic CTV crew. Yep, it's all going here, getting ready for birthday next week. It's going to be good. Laquita Gibson says, hello from a very cold Sunday morning here in Kentucky. Ooh, it's amazing, the different weathers. Pamela's in today, so's Mistress Deo from a sunny Camden. Miriam is in from the Bronx in New York. Olga is in. Hello all, great to have Jan in, it certainly is. And Michelle Craham says, I love when I use my scraps. So keep your comments in. This is your show, it's Jan's show, but it's your show as well. If there's anything that Jan does or says that you want to ask a question on, or you think, oh, it sparks an idea or a thought, then please send them this way. Love it when Jan says, oh, I'll do this way, and you come in with your comments saying, yeah, but I like to do it another way and everything. And then we talk about it and have a big chat, because the thing with craft is there isn't any wrong ways. There isn't really any right ways. Well, there are some things that you have to do, but you know, everybody crafts differently, and this is why I love this channel, that you've got the 6 or 7 of us that all do things slightly different. So we've seen who's in. Jan's shown us what we're going to make, so I'm going to let you get started, Jan, because I think it's going to take a little while.
Well, we're going to try and get it finished.
Good.
You know me, it's like I get involved in something. It took me hours to make it, but obviously I've recreated a lot of it and I've got it ready prepped, because there are certain things that I wanted to show you. There are certain things that you will know how to do. So yeah, we're literally going to start at the beginning. I thought I'd just show you 1 or 2 of the items that I am actually going to be using. So first of all, when the guys asked me what I wanted to do with the mixed media, I said I wanted to use a paper collection with it, because obviously I had this in mind and I wanted it to be very, very vintage. Now, you guys that know me know that I love my craft cards. So this is going to be the base of the box, together with my best friend, my Friar Brown ink, because everything, absolutely everything, has been distressed to give it that vintage sort of feel. So that's going to come in quite a lot today.
And does Friar Brown look better than Seal Brown?
For what I wanted, the Seal Brown was a little bit dark. So I've gone with the Friar Brown on there, yes. So the Seal Brown can sometimes be a bit darker. It depends what colour scheme you're using, but for what I wanted, that fit nicely. And then we're going to be looking at our stencils and glitter paste. So I've got the gold glitter paste, which is the fairy lights, along with the holly stencil. We're going to start with that because obviously I need that piece to dry. I've also brought a couple of my gilding waxes, again, like Corrine was saying, about mixing those different mediums. So the base is all going to be cardstock and paper, but then we're going to add other things to it. So we're going to bring in some of the gilding wax, wouldn't be without it. I'm actually going to be using some of the glitter glues as well. So I've used this as a highlight. So I don't know whether you can pick up the little poinsettias here on top are all sparkly. And I've just used a little bit of the glitter glue there to highlight it.
Oh yes, we can see that, yeah.
So I'll show you how I've done that. What else have we got? We've got gold embossing powder. We're actually going to use some of the wooden laser cut frames and emboss them and then distress them with the gilding wax to make them look sort of oldie worldy. So yeah, all these different things that you've just seen me bring in here are all different mediums. You know, we're going to be using twine. I'm going to be using some metal embellishments, some wooden buttons. I've got some little tiny bells and embellishments that came with one of last year's collection that a lot of you may have in your stash. So yeah, lots of different ways of bringing all these things together. So what I'm going to start with, first of all, I'm just going to get a little bit out of sequence because I want to get the glitter paste on so that it can dry. Then we'll come back to the box itself. So out of the Holly Jolly Christmas, I just chose, because I'm working on a small section, I just chose the actual border piece here. So for those of you that are not familiar with these, you get a really large 8.5-inch stencil. And I will just show you those because some of you may not have seen them. So you can see that lovely 8.5-inch stencil that will do your main pieces. You get a border, and then you also get a focal point. So in this instance, we've got those lovely bells. Now I'm just going to pop those to one side because my project this is only 3 3/4 inches square. Okay, and I'll explain why I arrived at that measurement when we start showing you how to do the box. So because it was smaller, I've gone with the smaller section of this. Now I've also incorporated this. I wanted something that was quite vintage, and there's a clue in the title there. So that vintage snowman, I must admit, it's one of my favourite winter collections, and I love the colour palette in here, and I went for sort of that lovely deep burgundy red. Went with the craft card beautifully. In my opinion, they are a really nice match. So again, I've got again, all distressed with the ink, but these two together gave me that vintage feel. And then I wanted a contrasting paper to go with it. And whereas we always say that the paper pads, you can use any paper out of it and they will all match, and they do perfectly. I'm not disputing that. But it hadn't got, this is all a very sort of turquoisey kind of green in here. So don't be afraid to mix the paper pads. I wanted something that was more traditionally that red, gold and green. So in came my Season's Greetings pad, and this has actually got more of that, where are we? Let's have a look. We've got that lovely sort of, more of the green that I was looking for. So I've used some of this as well, and I've used some of the pattern side, some of the plain side. And then one of the, I think it was something along, have I got one left? There is a nice, it's a bit paler than that one. I've got a scrap of it left. It might have been this one. I wanted more of a plain area to do some stamping on rather than stamping onto plain cardstock. And again, I'll talk you through that when we get to it. So job number one, we're actually going to just show you this little bit of stenciling before I go any further. And then I'm going to start from the beginning and show you how I've made the box. So all I'm going to do to start with is pop some scrap card down, and I have got the smallest piece of card, bit of paper. So this is cut from one of those pieces, and it's cut down to size, and I've actually got on all the outside edges, I've got a base layer of that lovely red, burgundy red from the Snowman collection, and then these pieces are cut to size to just do a section of that side panel. And then on the outside, I've gone ahead and you can see that lovely glitter paste. So you've got the texture on there as well as the glitter. So it's really nice and tactile. It's got a raised finish on it. And I'm just literally going to show you that bit first so that we can put that to dry. So pop that to one side. I've got my piece under here. And what I did, I just wanted it down part of it rather than covering all of it. So I've used the width of the stencil here and use this right hand side, and I've sort of used that against the edge of my piece of paper to give me that distance.
And then you know it's going to be right on all of them, aren't you?
Yeah, so I can get that positioning right, and I've literally married this edge up, and then I'm just going to take some of my glitter paste with my spatula there and literally pop that through the stencil. So it doesn't need a massive amount of it. I'm just going to hold it in place with my hand. If you feel more comfortable actually popping some adhesive on the back of here, then you can go with your spray adhesives on it. But I am literally just going to pop this through. Just spreading it through, pushing it into that stencil, and then dragging it back through so that you've got all the areas filled with that lovely glitter. Use the excess that's gone off the edge because we don't want to waste any of it. And then you want to keep that blade relatively flat so that it doesn't drag it back out of the stencil again. So make sure that it's all got a nice covering. And then I tend to go around the edges. I don't want to waste it. Take those surplus bits off, and that's going to go back in my pot, ready for the next use. So again, I don't like to waste it. It's all going back in there. Popping the lid back on. Okay, and then when we take this away now, we've got that lovely element of detail. So again, I tend to just make sure that there's nothing extra sticking out of the edge there. And then we've got that gorgeous sort of raised glittery element to add to our pattern papers. Now it could be a piece of plain cardstock. I chose a piece of the pattern paper just to add a bit more detail. I'm going to leave that to dry. Of course I've got some that are already dry, but I just wanted to show you that detail. So again, now that I've got the area off there, off the paper. I'm going to get rid of the extra.
Everyone is loving this box, the comments. Oh, this box is my style, says Crafty Stacey Lou. And Joanne says, just notice the box even has feet, as if it wasn't awesome enough already. I love it.
Again, I'm going to show you everything that I've done. Some of it may just be talking you through it. Some of it actually might be putting it into place. But yes, it has got little buttons for feet, and they were wooden buttons. So again, we're mixing that media, and they were the wrong colour. So out came the alcohol markers and coloured them in. And if I just tip it, you can see here, it's just got the nice 4 little feet on it. Okay. So just wooden buttons that I've coloured and stuck on. And what that does is when you actually do the explosion part, it just gives those pieces somewhere to go rather than it just being laid flat. So that's the idea behind it. So as far as the stencil's concerned, I would normally put these in a little water bath, but because it's only a little stencil and there isn't much excess on there, I'm just going to give it a wipe off with a wet wipe, and then it's good to go for next time. So again, you've got the little bit of freebie if you want to use that on another occasion. And that's good enough for what I'm going to do just now. So I'm going to pop those to one side, let those dry out of the way so you've got an idea, and then I'm going to come back to the box. Now, traditionally, if you've seen these done before, I've always made them out of a piece of 12 by 12 card, and this element of it is usually scored into 4-inch sections, so you get that tic-tac-toe grid, and the corners are cut away. Okay. Now, I was like, not everybody's got 12 by 12 card. My 12 by 12 card is slightly less weight than the A4 card. So a lot of the 12 by 12 is about 250, 280, whereas the A4, I've got a thicker weight card stock. So I thought, right, we'll do it the other way. So I'm going to create those 2 pieces. I'm going to grab my guillotine, and all I've done is literally cut 2 pieces out of the length of my cardstock, and I've actually got what I needed out of 1 sheet of card. So the card that we're using is 8 1/4 inches altogether. Okay, I'm going to cut 2 pieces off the length that measure 3 3/4. So obviously out of a piece of A4 I couldn't get 3 lots of 4 inches would be 12. So I've gone down to 3 3/4 just to make it more manageable. So we've got 1, and then I'm cut the second one down again to 3 3/4. And then just because our A4 cardstock here in the UK is a very, very strange measurement, I actually wanted to bring this into the same dimension. So because I'm working with 3 3/4, I want 3 sections of 3 3/4, which came to 11 1/4. So I've just trimmed it down slightly, just taken that little bit off the end, and I've now got my pieces that I can work with. So 11 1/4 inches that way, and we're good to go.
We were talking about this yesterday because Craig was saying if he folds A4 in half, he doesn't like the measurements, so he trims it down very slightly.
Just that little piece off.
Just a little bit.
I tend to. It's only a sliver to make it that 3/4 of an inch.
Yeah, exactly.
But I find it easier than working with 1/8 of an inch. And it does, I know when I was teaching, a lot of people got very sort of frustrated with the 1/8 of an inch. So we've now got 2 pieces that are the same. And all I'm going to do is pop those in my scoreboard and score them at 3 3/4. So that was the magic measurement. It measures 3 3/4 this way. I want to create a square. Okay, so we're going to go at 3 3/4. And we're going to go at 7 1/2. Okay?
Yeah.
Same on this one. And this is the cheats way of doing it.
I've just realised how you're doing it, and it's very clever, actually.
It is very, very easy.
When you think that otherwise you would have used a whole sheet of 12 by 12. And do you know what? I find 12 by 12 in craft is hard to find.
Yes,
I don't find it very easy to get hold of.
So we've got our pieces now, and I've created those 3 on each one that measure 3 3/4 square. So just a quick burnish to put those in place, and I think you can probably see exactly, I know you figured it out, Corrine, it is so simple, and it also reinforces your box because 2 of these are going to be doubled up. So we are literally going to pop them together like so.
And you can't see it on the finished sample. I've been looking at the finished sample and you cannot see that that is what Jan has done.
Yeah, so that is literally as simple as that. So at that point, in came my ink. And you know that anybody that knows and watches me and follows me knows that I love my inks. And I have literally inked to within an inch of my life. Literally the whole panel. So you can see here I've gone round the external edge. Because this is going to be folded up, I've gone round the folds as well. I've also gone on the other side, so you can see here. So I'm going to swap the two out that I've just cut, pop those to one side. And I've started putting some of the panels on as well, because obviously there's a lot to encompass in the show. So I've now got two pieces with the 6 panels, 6 squares on. These are going to be my outside panels. Okay, so I've got that lovely vintage paper on the outside that we're going to add the stencil piece to, and I'll do that later. I want to concentrate on the inside because most of the techniques are on the inside. And then on the other side, you can see that I've got all that inking, because when you've got your mats and layers on, there really is literally only that little tiny bit that's going to show around the edge and just give that different feel. But you can see the difference. If I put them two together, it really does make a massive difference.
Our Nicola was just saying about craft card being different colours on different sides.
Yeah.
And some people, that's the side I like. I like the darker,
I've been asked that before. Yeah,
but by you adding those
Corrine.
inks and then doing the mats and layers, it doesn't matter because you've actually hidden the fact that they're two different
Pretty
colours.
much, yeah. I tend to call this the right side, and I tend to call the lighter side the reverse, but there is no right and wrong. If you prefer this, all you would do is score it and fold it the other way.
Yeah.
So absolutely no reason why not. This is just a personal preference. So we've got these at the ready, and what I've done, I've got my measurements written on this one just in case I forgot. Put an X on this one, an X on this one, because those are the two that I'm going to stick together. So we'll do that now. And again, I've got a very, very large amount of collal glue in this project for its strength, and then your other friend with mixed media is your glue gun. I've got this on at the ready because so many of those embellishments have been stuck on with hot glue. Now again, just be careful if you're using the hot glue gun. It is a bit of a weapon, and I've burnt myself on many occasions. So yeah, just be careful if you're using that hot glue gun that you don't get the glue on your fingers, because it does hurt.
Yes.
I can vouch for it.
Yes.
I know I've said this before, they always say that crafters make the best thieves because none of us have got any fingerprints left. So again, and when I'm doing anything like this that's going to be 3D project, and again, please be careful, because if you are sensitive to it, then don't do as I say, not as I do. But I tend to bring all the glue out to the edges because I want this to have a good stick all the way out. So I just smooth that outside.
Just use a spatula if you're sensitive to it, couldn't you? Or anything?
You could, yeah, absolutely. Or just do it with a, with a wipe or a cloth, just so that I've got it right to the edges. And then this one is going to stick inside this one. And we're going to get to the point, making sure that these still fold in on either side. So you want those to get a nice fold. And then once you're happy with the positioning on it, just make sure everything's lined up. So that's a little bit too far that way. And this is the beauty of using that wet glue. You can slide it into place so that I've got a nice neat edge on the two raw edges of the outside piece. But on the inside piece here, these will still fold together. And then I'm just going to leave that for a second to do its trick. And that collal all-purpose glue just dries so sort of rigid that it gives more stability, and especially with something like this that I'm now going to put lots and lots of detail on. Now then, just to talk you through one or two of the other bits and pieces that I've brought with me. I did it in connection with that lovely vintage snowman. So along with the paper pad, I pulled out some of the elements from my collection that I'd got. So this one's got a lot of metalwork in. I've used the little lamppost. I've used the sign here on this one. I've got the sentiments. I'll show you what I've done with those to put all those together. I've used part of this just as a partial stamp. You can see him in here where I've just stamped him onto a die cut circle. I just wanted a section of him to go in there, and then I've coloured him in with the alcohol markers. And these have all been stamped onto the reverse of that paper. So I think I've actually got somewhere in here, I've got some scraps left. So you can see it was this one. So it's got quite a pretty pattern on one side, but I've actually stamped a lot of my embellishments onto here to get that vintage feel for it again, rather than using a plain white or cream cardstock to stamp onto.
That's a really good technique if you aren't overconfident making your own backgrounds.
Yeah.
Really lovely technique.
Yeah. And then I've used both the Merry Christmas and the Season's Greetings out of the metalwork here, so all those together. Pop those to one side. And then I brought in some elements that I had again in my stash, which is what it was all about today. So I love these. The scallop squares are featured quite heavily. Not that you can see a lot of them left, but on the background panel here, we've got that plain burgundy piece, and then each one of them has got one of those scallop squares as a layer. So we've got a matte and layer, but both in pattern paper, and each one of those has got that square on, along with the top of the lid to keep that theme going. So I've used these to create that, and I've got all these die cut for you ready so that we've not got to sit and watch all those go through the machine. This is from one of last year's Christmas collections. Again, a go-to for me. It was 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, and I love the embellishment pieces in here. So I've used a lot of these just to add extra decoration. I wanted a decent circle, and you know, I looked all over because I wanted a plain circle, not one that had the stitching in. And I came up with my inverted nesting dies, and again, this one's featured quite heavily. You can see here, that's what I've used to cut out my shapes, and these are all backed onto card. So even though it was paper, I've backed them onto scrap craft card, inked around the edge, so that again, I've got quite a good embellishment rather than just a piece of paper. So that featured very heavily. You can see the one here, the one on the front, which side was it on? The last one you look at here. Yeah. So that was out of there. And again, it can be any circle. I was just hunting through to find one that didn't have, I've got a lot of them that have got the stitch detail in them. And then this is one of my favourite die sets. This was launched last year as well, with all the bows and things on. I don't think I end up using the bows, but I do love the little poinsettias. I use these regularly along with the holly. And you can see here, these are what I've made the flowers with. So again, I've done all that die cutting. There's a couple of oddments from my own stash. There's a little heart die features in there, which I've used out of my own stash. And then the other thing that I used was the laser cut wooden frames. And you can see here, there's one at this side and one at this side. They were originally the wooden element that we've actually embossed with the gold embossing powder, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So what I want to do first, Corrine, is just get some of those background layers onto here, okay? And I think what I'm going to do is work on one piece at a time, otherwise it's going to get very confusing. And I actually prepped them and kitted them up like that. So I've got sort of one page, another one, etc. So I think if we start with the one that's got the piece of woodwork in, and then I can show you how I've done that heat embossing. So let's have a think there then. So what I've done is I've got my vintage red, and then that lovely scallop square. So this is going to go on one of the sides. It doesn't matter which one. It doesn't really matter which way it goes, but it's going to go in here. And then I've got a selection of embellishments. So which one are we going to do? Let's have a look. We're going to do one of the frames. So all these bits and pieces I've got ready. Now, it turned out that the frame actually cuts the centre out, and I didn't actually want that to happen. So I've kept the centres, and I'm going to put those back in, because I want a full piece here. I didn't want that red showing through at this point. So this is one of the laser cut frames that I'm going to use. I didn't have any more of the rectangular shaped ones that I've got on here. So I've just chosen another two that match, and we're going to go with that lovely oval shape. We're going to do that in a second. And then I've got all sorts of bits and pieces. You can see that foliage that I was talking about. You can see those lovely little poinsettias. It wouldn't be a Jan project if it wasn't covered in pearls. You can see a bit more here. I've got this one's going to make, I'm going to show you how I've made the little scroll. This is from that stamp set. So again, just stamping them out, inking them up, and cutting them, you know, to suit your project. So that's all ready to go. And then in my own stash, I have a couple of stamps that I've used from my own stash, which again, you know, don't be afraid to go through what you've got. And one of them is just numbers. I have a bit of a thing about numbers, and it literally just stamps a set of numbers. And you can see where I've cut into this. So on the details, if I show you, for example, on here, we've got the 25th for December. You can see that there's some little tickets in the background, which is a separate stamp. I've got little tiny numbers on here. So those are all taken, just literally, you can see where I've cut into this piece to take some of the numbers, you know, the tiniest little pieces out of it. And then I've also got one that just, again, and this has all been stamped on that same paper so that I've got that theme going through. I've also got one that stamps out tickets and things. Okay,
we're loving those.
Just different vintage tickets, yeah. So again, you know, if you haven't got anything like this, my go-to is obviously straight onto the internet, type in ticket stamps, you'll be away. Didn't actually use this one. This was another one from the vintage snowman that I'd stamped out with potentially using, but didn't get round to it. So I've got one of those tickets, and what I've done is, before I've stuck this back down, I've actually gone with it just in the edge like so. Okay, so again, a little bit of sticking going on now, and I'm going to stay with that collal glue until I need any embellishments sticking down. So again, all the way around the edge, just add that extra strength to your project. So again, I'm going to make sure that my paper's the right way up, because this one is going to go back in. We won't actually see much of this when it's done, but I just have to have it the right way around. And then before I stick that one in, all of these have had that ink, every single bit, apart from the middle section, because we're not going to see much of that, but everything else has had the ink around it. So again, this one is going to slip so that it looks as if it's sticking out from behind here. I'm going to use that as a guide, and I want it about, yeah, anything that's got numbers or clocks on, I have a bit of a thing for. I've got a right collection, and anything to do, yeah, Nicola's just said in my ear, that's a whole different ball game. I absolutely love steampunk, but we don't have a massive amount of products to support it at Crafters Companion, so I've sort of stayed away from it. I've got some lovely projects at home that are done with a steampunk theme, with all the cogs and different things. So that's my background, okay? So take it from there. The next thing while that's drying is I want to just show you how simple it is to do the heat embossing. So I've got the little wooden laser cut frame. I need my sticky ink pad, which is just downstairs there. And I need my gold embossing powder. And then I just need a bit of scrap. Excuse me while I just delve in my bag. I think I've got some paper in here. I just need something to catch my embossing powder. There we go, a little bit of scrap paper. So all I'm going to do with this then, and have I got the heat tool? That's a good question.
You've not got your heat tool?
I've got my glue gun on. I need my heat tool on as well, don't I?
Have you got a heat tool?
I have.
I was going to go fetch you one.
Just get that plugged in ready. I'd got everything else ready. I'd forgotten about the heat tool. So again, we'll get that plugged in down here. And then all I'm going to do is literally, press this wooden element into my sticky ink. It's not so attractive, it's been well loved. So I tend to keep one for the mixed media stuff, and then I keep one for my stamping. So fairly gently, because I don't want to snap the wood. It isn't extra thick, but I want to get it coated in that sticky ink. Okay, if you prefer, you can put your piece of wood onto the paper and you can press the ink pad onto it, but I tend to just go this way. You know what I'm like with getting fingers covered in everything. I usually end up embossing myself as well as the embellishments. But
and
again,
you're sort of overlaying where you've gone as well, aren't you? So
yeah, just to make sure that you've got a really nice coverage on it, and I'm probably going to do it more than once to make sure that we've got that nice coverage. So when it's ready, try not to touch that side that the ink's on. I'm going to pop that on here, and then I'm just going to use my gold powder and literally be quite liberal, because most of this goes back in the pot, but you want to make sure you've got a really good coverage. And then I'm going to take my tweezers that, if I can find them in here, I thought I'd got everything out I needed. Yeah, the ones that actually close on themselves. Where are they?
your squeezy tweezers.
The squeezy ones. I know they're in here somewhere.
Just bear with me a second.
Have you not got them?
I should have. It's just a case of finding them. There. No, that's not them. They're always the last thing to find, aren't they?
Oh, yes, yes. Just while you're doing that, I can say, Stefan, where are we? Just a minute. It's just jumped. So we've got Beverly Bryant in, can't wait to see what a crafty mess Jan gets up to today. I wouldn't have called it mess, but there we go. Liz Hannah says, Jan, you look fabulous. She does, doesn't she? She's looking absolutely marvellous, and she said she feels so well with it all as well, which is lovely. Sandra Dundas, I do enjoy working out how to get extra accessible storage into my craft room. Yeah, storage is key, isn't it? If you can't find, what was it we were saying yesterday? You don't use what you can't see. Yeah. You need to be able to see it to be able to use it. Joanne says, Jan always has such great ideas. These techniques would make great Christmas cards as well. I'll have to try it. Every panel that Jan has done on that box is its own individual Christmas card potentially, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and any of this can be taken, you know, onto a different sort of base. It doesn't have to be the box. I can't find the tweezers I'm looking for, so I'm going to have to use these ones.
Okay.
But my others are the ones that stay closed.
Squeeze tweezers, yes.
And they're ideal for when you're embossing. So you can see now that we've got that lovely layer of gold embossing powder. So I'm going to move that out of the way and just move that to one side because I don't want it to A, blow everywhere, and B, I don't want it to end up getting melted. So again, I'm just going to pop this on the low setting so that I've got a bit of control over it to start off with. And all I'm going to do is just literally hold it until you can see straight away. I can just, on this side here, where that gold powder's starting to melt.
James, getting in nice and close for us to show
us trying
heat
to hold
embossing.
it up a little bit for you so that you could see. You see there, look on that
Oh,
edge.
yes.
Yeah,
oh, yeah, it's gone all
there we
shiny.
go. So I'm just going to chase it around until all of it's gone. And once it's melted, there's no need to be sort of going back over it. Just literally follow it around until the whole thing's melted.
You can see it running almost, can't you?
Literally, yeah. Now, the first layer is usually a little bit pitted. It looks a little bit like orange peel. Now, I don't mind that. Some people prefer it to have sort of a smoother finish. So what I'm going to do is like double emboss it. So once this is done, we're going to re-ink and we're going to do a second layer of embossing powder, and that gives you the room then. It sort of starts melting and becomes slightly flatter. So again, just need it to cool for a second. And then once we've got that done, we're going to come back into the ink again. So make sure that it's not tacky. And then I'm going to do exactly the same process.
Oh, brilliant.
So again, pop it in that ink straight over the top of what's already there. And then we're going to apply a little bit more of the embossing powder just to get that really nice finish on it. Okay.
Jan, while you're doing that, because you're repeating what you've done before, a couple of questions come from Stephanie. Says, Jan, how do you store your little items so you know how to find them when you need them, by theme or something else? I've already said I want an afternoon in Jan's craft room. I am fascinated by Jan's craft room.
Jan's very OCD. So things in my world have to be as organised as they can be. Let me just grab, all I've done is just dip that in the embossing powder that was already out, and I'm literally going to heat this again now over the top. But yeah, a lot of my things, it depends what they are. So for example, I have a drawer full of wooden embellishments. I've got a drawer full of lace. I have a drawer full of anything sparkly that I use for my shaker cards and things like that, so sequins and beads and that kind of thing. All my glitters and everything are together, and the glitter paste, so that's the theme behind that is glitter. As far as ribbons and flowers and things like that, I have a set of those lovely stacking drawers that have the coloured fronts on them.
Yeah.
So for example, all my pink embellishments are in a pink drawer, which pleases me immensely. It fits my OCD and I know exactly where to look for them. So yeah, anything like ribbon, flowers, if I use any of the little pegs or anything like that that's got a colour on it, will go in its respective drawer. And there's about There's about 8 drawers altogether.
And within those drawers are things in little bags or little containers. Of course, she says. Of course.
So yeah, there'll be a box of flowers, there'll be a little bag of pegs or whatever, yeah. So yeah, I do try my best. Now, if you walked into the craft room, you wouldn't believe that for a minute because it's an absolute nightmare. There is so much stuff that doesn't have a home, but all the small embellishments and stuff like that is literally all categorised. I've got one of my cubes is donated to all my Crafter's Companion pen range that aren't, for example, alcohol or watercolour. So things like the acrylic markers, the metallic markers, the sparkle pens, things like that are all in one drawer together. So, and they're all labelled up so that I know where I'm going with them. So you can see now on here, we've got the most gorgeous. Oh, totally transformed.
You would not know that
from
was,
what was wood,
a laser cut piece of wood, would you?
Yeah, onto that lovely frame. So first job I'm going to do is just get rid of the excess powder because we've done very well so far not to end up with it.
I'm intrigued with this because at the moment that looks a little bit shiny and new.
It does, doesn't it? It's not very vintage.
It's not fitting your theme, Jan.
Well spotted, Corrine. So what we're going to do then, we're going to vintage it up a little bit and we're going to bring in some of the gilding wax.
Oh, while you're doing that, Rosalind, very good. She says, if I don't have the MDF shape I'm looking for, I cut out the shape with a die multiple times, say I like your craft card or something, stick them together until I get the depth desired for the project.
Fabulous.
Because you could then heat emboss and no one would know.
There is a way around everything.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just takes a little bit of thinking about. Yeah, absolutely perfect. So the tiniest little bit, and this is the darkest one, this is the antique gold.
I can say we don't use that one as much, do we?
No, I must admit, you can see how much is in this one. It's probably the least I use. But on this occasion, as like you said, Corrine, I just wanted to give it a little bit, and it will go over the embossed feature and just sort of almost like rust it up a little.
Yeah.
Just to make it look a little bit more old and vintage.
You're just trying to dull it down a little bit, I suppose, aren't you?
It is, yeah. And that is literally all I've done with it, is just add that little bit on there and it just sticks there beautifully. It works well with that medium. Don't be afraid to try it. I mean, the worst case scenario is it will all rub off and it didn't work. You know, it's not going to damage anything, but you'll find that it does actually stick to it nicely. And you've got that piece now that's taken all that excess shine away, which I agree wasn't particularly very vintage. And we've now got a very different look to it.
So I like doing a lot of projects with a lot of white and a lot of bit. So I could do that and just use a white embossing powder over the wood and it would come up.
Any embossing powder, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like the look of that, thought of that.
So that's going to be one of our embellishments. We've got a couple of little flowers there. And then the other thing that I wanted to show you, we're sort of working on this section at the set. And I'm just looking at the time now. I'm not going to get all this done, am I? Just looking at this particular section. And I love making, when I'm doing 3D projects, I love making these little scrolls. Again, so simple. This is that same card. So we've got the same theme running all the way through it. The size doesn't really matter, excuse me. I just wanted this part, the width of it here. So you can see that we've got that sort of same width as what I've got in here. Yeah. And it measures just under 2 inches. I think it was probably a random piece. And then what you want to do is actually use either the edge of your bone fold or an edge of a ruler or anything like that and start that curve. Paper doesn't have a memory, so you have to teach it what you want it to do. And you can just see how we've gone from a flat piece to something that's already curled. I've put a little tiny strip of the very fine red line tape across one end to seal it. So I'm going to start at this end, and then you want something that's round. So I'm just going to use the barrel of my pokey tool here to get it started. And all I'm going to do is make sure it's straight and then roll it, keeping an eye on this edge. Because if I've got that edge straight, then the other one should follow.
I think that's probably the most complicated bit of this, is making sure you're rolling straight, isn't it?
Yeah. And then when you get to that end, you need to remove that, because I want that to take my tape off. And take your liner away. Oops, come away. And you've got your little tiny scroll there.
She had have gone wet glue and then I'd been struggling to keep it shut while it dries.
This is where red line tape is just your best friend ever, honestly. For things like this, I've just lost something on the floor, I don't know what it was. And then again, I'm just going to create a little tie for this one. and you've got that little tiny vintage scroll there. So my project at home at the minute that I've just started working on, because I've got a few days without any work, so again it's a bit of Jan craft time, is actually going to be a Halloween project. So once I've got that done, I'll see if I can show it you, but that's very much a 3D mixed media project.
Oh, right.
So yeah, once I've got that done, and it will involve some of these little scrolls, but a bit more authentic, possibly with some paper that's got a script writing on it. So we've got that. So, okay, now then, let's have a think this through, because I can see it's already 3:45. So I think what I'm going to do is concentrate on the actual techniques for you, because all I've done with this then is start and layer everything up. So we're going to go with the frame. Okay, I've got my sentiment to go at the bottom here. I've got, and I also like use it, I get through tons of this stuff. I usually buy it by the bulk. I mean, we're very good that some of it comes in our collections, but I tend to buy them by bulk, because all I've done is just circled it round to get another little bit of an embellishment. And again, it's all about that vintagey type. And then this one is going to go behind the rest of the detail. So this is going to sit in here like so. We've got our little scroll to go in there. We've got our poinsettias, and I'll stick all this down at the end of after the show. I've got some little bits that, and again, it's about layering. So, you know, sort of popping bits underneath sections rather than having them all on top. So again, you know, these little tiny frondy bits are just going to go underneath. This one's going to go from the poinsettias. And if I bring in the one that I've got here, you can see we're sort of recreating, albeit a different shape frame. This is what it's got. And then I've just stuck the old pearls in. You know, it's not complete without pearls in Jan's world. Even though it's vintage, we've still got some little pearls in there. So that's that first one done. And as I say, I'll stick all this together afterwards, otherwise it's going to take a little bit longer. I want to show you the rest of the techniques that I've used. So I'm going to have a pause there, and then we'll come back with how I've used some of the other mediums for the mixed media, if that's okay.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I just have a quick question for you before we go to the break.
Yeah.
I don't know how quickly you can answer it. Stephanie, who asked the other question, says, is there a product to keep glitter and sequins from coming off a project after it's dried? Her granddaughter made a project last night, and I want to make a frame for it, but being as she's just 5, I don't want her spilling glitter all over the house. So maybe the glitter isn't the most secure. Is there anything you can put over glitter or sequins that's going to hold them, other than Mod Podge?
I would imagine that you'd be able to get some kind of spray varnish. I mean, we do a spray varnish in a can. Yeah. I certainly wouldn't be giving it to the children to use, because we do recommend using anything like that in a ventilated area. But we actually do one as part of our spray collection, which is spray and shine. So this is actually a varnish in an aerosol.
Right.
And it's intended for paper crafting. So, you know, like if you've made a project and you want to seal it.
Yes.
That might be sufficient to keep glitter in place. But as I say, I would do this, obviously, adult use only. I haven't tried it, so I can't guarantee it. But, oh, Liam.
Oh,
Liam. Here.
Liam's just thought he was very, very organised. He just
Bless
came
him.
running
He's just come
in.
running into the studio with his can of spray and shine, bless him, because he could hear me talking about it outside. This is our team. This is what they're like, you know, they're sort of on it. He wasn't, I couldn't even see him.
No.
But he's obviously heard what we were saying. Didn't realise I'd already got one here, bless him. So thank you, Liam.
Could you do like a wash with a diluted PVA glue?
Quite possibly, yes. So yeah, really sort of dilute it down and just pop that over the top. Yeah, but if you've got the right glue underneath,
this should hold.
it should hold in place.
It's 5-year-olds put it together, so it's quite possible that it's not as secure as if
but
you
it
or I were
might be
doing
worth investing. I mean, our tacky glue is intended for anything other than paper, really. So this is actually a PVA glue. It's quite safe. It's water-based, so that it won't do any harm to the children, as opposed to this one being solvent-based. I wouldn't give this to the kiddies to work with. It does have a slight smell to it. But this is a water-based product. It's a fabulous glue. And if you look on the back of it, it'll talk about things like wood, cardboard, metal, ribbons, anything like that. So maybe a little bit of this underneath with the glitter sprinkled into it. It dries clear.
Yeah.
it would actually dry and just look like the glitter. So it might just be the adhesive that you're using that's not quite strong enough.
Okay,
Yeah.
brilliant. Thank you. Okay, a couple more questions. We'll come back to those afterwards. But we're just going to take a little quick break. All about, I think this is our birthday. So, yeah, the room around us, the bits you can't see, is rapidly changing for birthday for tomorrow. Certainly is. And so let's have a look at this and we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
We're switching on the spotlight and turning up the sparkle because our amazing 18th birthday is nearly here.
We're going all out this year to light up the dance floor for our biggest and brightest party ever.
And best of all, everyone's on the guest list. So join us from the 9th to the 22nd of October to dance yourself dizzy.
And we're really spoiling you this year. We've got more glitter than a disco ball.
So get ready for a dazzling lineup of fantastic craft launches and so many fabulous crafty treats and surprises.
Crafters, this is your time to shine. Head across to our new Crafters Companion website where you can have a look at our birthday booklet for all of our incredible deals.
Welcome to Crafters TV. With more than 35 hours of live shows each week, it's your home for all things craft. We shine the spotlight on new and innovative crafting products with live tutorials and demonstrations. Join our family of craft experts where fun happens every day.
Are we in trouble or are we all right? Should be coming in. Should be coming.
What does she
That's
do?
exactly
What does
how
she do?
he looks.
This is awesome! This is awesome!
Get creative and craft along. With our amazing deals, your next craft project is just a click away. Tune in live 7 days a week, or you can watch us on Catch Up at crafterscompanion.com, Facebook, or our YouTube channels. You can chat to us, craft along, and meet new friends by joining our online crafting community.
And I watch you every day, and it's just what really gets you through when you're really at rock bottom.
There's a show for every type of crafter, from first-time dabblers to full-time makers. Crafters TV, create every day.
Hi, I'm Ben from Crafters TV. As you may know, we've just launched an amazing new website, our new home of papercraft to house all of your crafty needs. And as we've had a bit of a makeover, I'm here today to help you add those crafty goodies to your basket and check out. So, what are we waiting for? Let's get started. First, head on over to the Crafters Companion homepage. Select the correct geographical location at the top of the page. Next, log into your My Crafters account. Explore the site and products using the navigation bar at the top of the screen. When you find the product you want, add to your basket by clicking the Add to Basket button. You'll then have the option to view your basket or continue shopping. If you want to check out, click View Your Basket. Here you can see the list of items you've added along with the order summary on the right-hand side of the screen. This is also where you'll see your loyalty discount. And just remember, the price you're seeing at this stage is excluding any delivery charges. This will also be your opportunity to add any discount codes you may have. Simply type in the code, hit apply, and if your code is valid, you should see the correct amount of discount deducted from your order total. Once you're happy to go ahead with your order, click the Proceed to Checkout button in the summary box on the right-hand side of your screen. If you want to use ShopPay, PayPal or Google Pay, you can select the relevant option under Express Checkout and you'll be given instructions on how to check out. If you have a gift card, you can enter the code on the right-hand side of the screen and press Apply. You should see the correct amount of discount deducted from your total. If you'd like to pay by card, the details linked to your account should appear in the relevant fields. If these aren't showing, you'll need to fill out the correct details. When you've entered your payment information, click the Continue to Shipping button at the bottom of the screen. Select your preferred shipping option, click Continue to Payment. Here you can enter your card details or select ShopPay, PayPal or ClearPay. Next, make sure the correct billing address is entered under the billing address section, or if this is the same as your shipping address, then you'll have the option to select it. Click Pay Now, and that's it. You'll be taken to a thank you page with an order number, and you'll also receive a confirmation email with the details of your crafty purchase, which will be on its way to you very soon.
Hello and welcome back. Just want to let you know I am reading all your comments, but I don't want to interrupt Jan too much because I do know time is limited. So we are getting them, and it's lovely to have your comments. I will try and read them all, but yeah, we'll get there. But I want to give as much time as possible to Jan. If I see any questions, I do pop those in. Dina, she asked about cutting multimedia, using multimedia dies and plates for cutting chipboard. Jan and I had a quick chat about that. I would only really do it with very, very thin chipboard. Chipboard comes in different widths. That's why a lot of our, chipboard shapes are all laser cut, because that's probably the best way to laser cut them. If you're struggling with that, then maybe make them out of a couple of layers of craft card is what I'd probably recommend to do with that one. And then Evelyn says, does anyone know what we can use instead of spray and shine here in the US? We were just saying, just go to any hardware and try and get a spray varnish. You should be able to pick that up quite easily. So yeah, hopefully that helps a little bit. Right, I'm going to stop chatting on a little while. Oh, Stephanie's going to have a try with some of those hints that you said about the glue on a scrap of card before she does it all over her granddaughter's project. Yeah, right. Next panel, please, Jan.
Right, so what I've done in the break then, because obviously that is just literally straightforward, I've gone and stuck all the panels on the inside of my piece here so that we can get along with the embellishments. So I've stuck this one together. The only thing I haven't done is put the beads inside the frame, but I've got that one at the ready with, mainly with the hot glue, and then I stuck all the panels on ready. Okay, so they've got their little tickets stuck in the side here, and we're going to go on to that next one. So the next one's going to be the little snowman scene.
Oh, I like that one.
So again, all I've done is taken craft card and a piece of that pattern paper, and I've stamped my image onto there with my alcohol ink, alcohol-proof ink, and I've just coloured in the bits that I wanted. And again, everything has had that ink round the outside. So he's going to be the main sort of focal piece on this one. But there was sort of quite an expanse there. So all I've done is cut a second one in a similar card. This is out of the scrap pot, but it was a similar shade to the burgundy. And we're going to pop those in just to break up that background a little bit.
I like how you haven't put him like smack bang in the centre.
No, because I want to make some bits round him as well. Yeah. So yeah, in one of those sets we had that gorgeous little sign. So again, I've die cut, and whenever I'm doing this kind of thing, I usually die cut them twice and stick them together again, just to give it a little bit of rigidity. And then this one, I've gone with the lighter gold. And again, it's all had the ink round it. Pretty much everything has had the ink on it. And then just by adding that little bit of extra gilding wax, it just adds another layer. And mixed media, a lot of it is about adding layers to things. It's building up those layers. And I don't necessarily mean lots and lots of depth in layers. So for example, this is just craft card with a bit of gilding wax on it. You know, it's not anything fancy, but it just adds that little tiny bit of shimmer to it now, which brings brings it and sort of starts to link it together with things like the glitter paste and things like that. So this one's actually going to go behind here. So let's start sticking some of those down. So again, wherever possible, I use my collal. Now these bits, I actually cut, first of all, I cut some of these scallop shapes out in craft card, but I didn't like the craft again. But what I have done is snipped loads of the edges off because I thought they make great embellishments. So yes, here we go.
It's amazing where you can get embellishments from, isn't it? Embellishments
see it everywhere.
Are part of a thing. They don't have to be a whole thing.
Doesn't have to be the full thing, not at all. So I'm going to put that one down. And then just because that one's a bit smaller, I'm going to come in with that fine tip applicator. And we're going to put this across between the two, across here, before I put the little snowman down. Now, a lot of these, I've got bits of scrap card on the back of them just to raise them a little bit. You can just see there's a bit of depth there. Rather than using foam pads in something like this, I don't want to see all the bits of white foam behind it.
Yeah.
So just use scraps of card to build it up to where you want
So
it
what have
to
you
be.
done, just a couple of layers of
Just
scrap
little,
card?
yeah, these are bits of the craft card that are all the offcuts that I've got that I've used when I've been doing other things. I keep them all in a box and literally just use those. And all it's done is raised it to allow me to then pop things behind it.
I suppose it's very much like if you're doing something with black and then you use your white foam pads and then you just go around the edge with your black pen, don't you?
You can, yeah, that is one option, but there was such a lot of it here that I'm going to spend an absolute age just popping round everything to get the colour out.
But no,
so, yeah.
it's a similar sort of technique. It's about making it all blend in, isn't it?
So we've got the little signpost there. Pass this element through my Gemini with the normal plates plus the rubber embossing mat, and it saves having to worry about all that glue strands getting where it shouldn't be. It's all come off in the carry piece, and then I've now got these that can go straight onto my design. So we've got the Merry is going to go at the top here.
What have you cut that out? Sorry, you might have said. Is that a mirror card or just a...
This is just green textured card. All the textured card that I use all goes into a box together because I do like the textured card a lot. So it all goes in a box, again in colour order. It has to be in colour order and it's there for cutting out things like this. So a lot of the holly leaves have been done out of this green. The poinsettias have been done out of red pieces. We've got our Merry Christmas on there. And then again, that same die, and the holly leaf was part of that die as well. So again, we've just got those little tiny pieces. And again, anything like this, I do tend to use just the tiniest little bit.
Do the grandchildren ever come into your craft room?
Toby loves it.
Does he?
Absolutely.
But he's quite calm.
He knows he's not got to touch anything. I've not let Alfie in yet because he's a little bit young. He'd probably fall over the doorstep in there knowing Alfie, bless him. But yeah, Toby comes in and he'll sit on my knee while I'm crafting. And you know, he's fascinated. If I just give him a piece of card that I've die cut something out of, he thinks he's got treasure. Oh. And he'll sit and hold it. Nanny gave me this. Yeah. And it could just be a piece of scrap. From my point of view.
I took my grandsons up to my craft room last time they were up and I just gave them some few bits and they were sticking and doing.
Oh, he loves it. He's got his own little craft kit.
Yeah.
Which has got, you know, pipe cleaners and pom-poms and you name it, bits of sticky, and he's got some of my old card stock that I've put in there. And can we craft, Nanny? He absolutely loves it. And he's only 3.5-year-old.
But what you said about a die cut, I give a lot of bits of offcuts of card stock to my daughter. She either has them at home for the boys, because she teaches 3- and 4-year-olds, she'll take them into school, or she gives some to the boys' school as well. And she says if she puts, I don't know, 10 sheets of A4 onto a table, the children look at it. If she puts 10 pieces that have been cut into, die cut out of, they pounce on them.
Oh, yeah.
The children don't tend to like whole sheets.
Whole sheets.
Like you and I. We might look at it and go, oh, nice, fresh piece. Small children like a piece that has already been...
looks different.
Looks a bit different, yeah. And I think they probably feel like it's giving them permission to cut into it, to scribble on it, to do. Yeah. Because it's already cut into. But she says her children in her class will just ignore the whole pieces and go straight in for the cut up bits.
He's got his own little pair of scissors. Sometimes we just sit and cut bits of paper up, and he's happy with that. Yeah, he's definitely going to be a crafter of some sort. He came the other day, came running in. It was last weekend. It was National Grandparents' Day, and he'd made some cards at home with Mummy, one for Nanny and one for Pops, who was his grandpa. And he'd come running in with them, look what I've made, Nanny, bless him. And honestly, and he'd written it for the very first time, he'd had a go at writing his name, and he'd written in it Toby, and he'd signed it underneath, which obviously so special. So you can just see that little collage of things there, and we've got that sort of second page on the go. So because the time's ticking away, I'm just going to keep going with these because I've got all the sets pretty much together ready. So this one, to go opposite, I've got another one exactly the same as what I did before, and I've already done the frame to go in this one, And
does that make you happy to have matching frames on opposite sides, or would you ever do completely different frames?
No rules.
No rules.
Absolutely no rules. I went for the same ones, but there's nothing to say that they can't be different. You could have a frame on every side. That could be your feature point on each side. You know, as I say, there's no rules with anything like this. This is what I love about it. You know, you can just literally do it as you go along. Now, I wanted some little tags to go in here as well. So these are all homemade. They are literally scraps of craft card again that I've just cut and punched. This is actually just a piece of washi tape out of my stash. I've got tons of washi tape. I think it's something we all buy and then don't know what to do with.
Do you know, I don't have washi tape.
Oh, I've got a box full.
I need to get myself some washi tape.
And then the numbers are from that one I showed you at the beginning where we'd stamped. You can see where I've cut some of, they probably come from this section here. Everything's been inked again, so we've got our own little tag to sort of go in the background this time. Again, I've kept that same theme as we did on the other side, so I'm going to trap some of these elements underneath, just like we did at the other side here, like so. And then I've got a little tiny chart. These are from, I've collected these over the years. They come, we used to get them a lot with the signature collection. Sarah used to do lots of the metal charm packs.
Yes.
I've not seen them as much recently.
No, I haven't.
But I've got a drawer full again of metal
Oh,
charms.
have you?
So this one just says love on it. It's like a little tiny padlock, and I've made a little bow to go on the top of there as part of it. And then this time I've got a couple of those poinsettias stuck together just so that it's a bit bigger. So again, I'm just going to whip round.
I think you've got a really good point there, because I've got a lot of my collections by collection. So I've got a big, you know, the bigger than 12 by 12 stacking drawers, and I've got one for, you know, I know sunflowers is in a collection, dancing dragonflies is in another collection.
Yes, mine are to a certain extent.
But then, like you said, in that dancing dragonflies, now you said it, are some metal charms.
I always take those embellishments out and they go in my embellishment drawer.
I think I need to start removing things like embellishments, bows, gems, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And keeping those separate because I'm not using them.
Yeah, anything like that go into the embellishment drawer.
Yeah.
So that they're with like-minded products. So if I'm looking for seam binding in a certain colour, I just go in that colour drawer and it's there, rather than thinking, oh, which collection did that come with, and rummaging through all the collections. The dies and the embossing folders and things like that I keep together as a collection.
Yeah.
It's just the rest of it. As I say, embellishments always come out and they've got their own place.
I think I definitely need to break down my monthly craft boxes.
Yeah.
I've just got to work out how to store everything
Again,
else.
there's lots of embellishments in those.
Yeah, maybe get like an A4 ring binder and have a pocket for like the worker dies or whatever for each one. And like you say, put all, gosh, I think with those envelopes, I'm going to have a lot of envelopes and a lot of card blanks. But I know I was running out of card blanks.
They're great for prep though, Corrine.
Yeah,
we do a lot
I think
of
I
prep.
definitely will. Very good point there,
just
Jan.
literally sort of making these lovely little sort of collage pieces with these, and you can see how useful that hot glue gun is. And I mean, I'm not using a massive amount of it, but you've got that pretty much instant stick. And again, some people don't like the hot glue guns because you get all these little glue strands off it. But when you've finished, don't worry about it while you're working. When you've finished, all you need to do on your lowest setting is just grab your heat tool and just give everything a quick blast, and all those little hairs of glue just dissolve into the background. They just disappear, gone. So that's the way to sort of deal with those. But I know it does put some people off using the glue guns because you do get that little sort of straggly bit.
Stephanie, you said the tiny gold ball. Are they tiny gold balls or are they flat on one side?
Are they what, sorry?
Are those little gold balls that you just put on a few minutes ago, or were they flat?
They're flat back pearls.
Flat back pearls.
Yeah, so I have tons of them. I have boxes full of them. Again, it's something honestly, Corrine, I need help. You need to send help out. Yeah, I have tons of them. Some of them, these gold ones, are actually Dreamies from when we used to have the girls in to demo. I've got some all natural colours. There's gold, silver, black, white, and there's a fifth colour in there. I can't remember what it is, but yeah, that's what they are. Coloured ones, I ordered a bag off the internet. It was a weight, and you ordered it, and it's just full of little tiny mixed pearls, which are in my elements.
Do you know what? I have so many. I'm like a magpie, and I buy them, and then they're just stored all over the place. Oh, very good question from our Nicola. What do you have the most of, pearls or ribbons? For me, volume, obviously ribbons, because ribbons take up a lot more. When I had my craft room done, I was very lucky, and the joiner that did it, he got me some drain pipe, you know, the half drain pipe that you have on the top, and I've got 8 strips down the back of a cupboard door on the outside, 3 small ones and 5 big ones, and they fit rolls of ribbon in perfectly. So that's all down there in colour order, Jan would approve, all down there. And then I've got a calyx box full of bits of ribbons, not in any order or sorted, and then I just go rooting in there. But pearls I need to sort. Pearls I definitely need to sort.
Well, I've got a whole drawer designated to just flat back either pearls, rhinestone, that kind of thing.
Wow.
So I would probably say that I've got the most of the. I do like a good embellishment, I must admit. I really do. But yeah, sad. As I say, somebody needs to send help out because I'm just drowning in it all. So
when last weekend we had the family over, and my mum and my son were in my craft room because my son was sleeping on the floor. I did make space, and him and my mum were in there, and he just said Grandma, look at all this stuff. And she just looked at him, she said, Kern, one day you're going to have to sort all of this out.
I've told both my girls, I says, when it's my time to go, I says, just open the patio doors on the conservatory and invite people, I says, and have a house sale. I says, because you'll make a fortune.
Yeah, his look when he's
They both craft in their own way, I must admit. They've not taken it onto the level I have. But they do both craft. My youngest daughter's into crochet at the minute, and she's making that. I can never say it. Are they amigurumi, something along those lines. I can never say it properly.
That's not a
yeah,
word,
the ones where you circle round, you go round and make the little animals.
Oh, I've never seen it.
Amigurumi or something like that. Yeah, she's into that at the minute, so she's actually making those. She's done some lovely little octopus and tortoise, and she's done some orders for her friends at work.
Everyone's loving your ideas on storage for embellishments. Rhonda says we all need help. We're collectors, we all are.
Hoarders.
Yes.
Hoarders. I think one of the biggest tips I can give people is to label things, because no matter how tidy you are, you've still got to remember what you've put where. So if you've got a label on it, and it's easy, like we've kept saying the same thing, Corrine, about, you know, if you can't see it, you don't use it.
Yeah.
If you've got loads of boxes but you don't know what's in them, it's no better than not being able to find it in the first place.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, so
Mine
get a
isn't
label.
quite labelled, but yeah, totally agree. Joanne says, Jan, do you use glue on your washi tape as well when using on a project?
Yes.
Or just washi tape alone?
No, the washi tape is not the best at sticking. It's designed that way for some reason, and I do, if I'm using it on something like this, I will always use a little bit of my tacky glue on first and then lay the washi down so that I've got a really good seal, because something like this, you're wanting it to last.
That's a good question, Joanne. One I wouldn't have ever thought of asking, so thank you.
Again, you can see that same circle there. So it's just been done on the paper. It's been stamped out of that same sentiment step onto the sentiment set onto the paper, distressed. And again, this one's actually flat. I've not put any cardboard behind this one, but however you want to do it. And then also I think it was in the same one as the snowman, you've got a lovely little stocking in that set as well.
Yep.
So again, same paper. I've kept that same paper all the way through and stamped out the little stocking.
Oh,
cut
that
it out,
is so cute.
distress the edge again to make sure that everything's got that vintage look. And then this one's going to hang. We'll do this as if it's hanging from the top. So again, the hot glue for this is perfect. It really is, because you've got that sort of instant stick with it. So this one's going to go up here, just tuck under the edge there, that little bit.
Jen, this is
And then
absolutely
again,
gorgeous.
another one, I just went and looked through loads of different things. I wanted some things that were metal, some things that were wood, some things that, you know, that were paper. So this was, again, out of that, it's come with one of the collections in the past. You'd be surprised what you've got when you actually check through your stash. Little tiny set of bells there.
Oh, wow.
And again, I wanted that lovely sort of brass colour. I've got silver charms, I've got brass ones, I've got some that are an odd colour. But I wanted that sort of that vintagey, and this is just going to go as if it's hung from the top of the little stocking there. And then instead of the poinsettia this time, I've just got the holly. And that set that I showed you that had these in has got the little berries as well. So I'm going to do that one. And all the poinsettias and the holly, again, I will just show you how I've actually, I use my pokey tool, and they all get tret to a squidge.
Right.
To make them more 3D. The same with the poinsettias. I've done the same in the middle of these as well. Just so that, again, you've got nothing in real life is totally flat. So it just gives that bit of dimension. And the nature of this project allows you to have that dimension inside it, because when it closes up, there's a lot of space inside the box.
Yeah.
And then literally all I did here was I'd got this particular die has, I forgot to fill this up in the...
Oh no.
I've still got a bit left. This actually has the berries with it. So again, I've just cut those out of some of the cardstock.
You could use flat back pearls if you wanted.
You could still carry on. And I thought, well, seeing as we've got these, why not? You know,
could.
it's all using up the little scraps of card, and I'm just going to put those on this time.
Oh, lovely.
And then this was actually, the little heart is actually out of my own stash. I just wanted to incorporate that. And again, those little tiny numbers in there. And I'm going to pop some of the hot glue at the bottom here. And then I've got a couple, and you can see that theme. It's the same bits and pieces going all the way through. So those little tiny branch pieces again, and then there should be enough glue left in there.
I know you're sort of copying this time, but I bet every time you were to make this, if you were to make it, you know, without rigidly following, it'd be slightly different every time, wouldn't it?
You could do this, you know, sort of like, if you think about this with white cardstock and something like the Snow Queen collection, you'd get a completely different look.
Yes.
You know, so yeah, same techniques, but completely different look. So again, you know, you could do this, do the embossing on the frames with white glitter embossing powder. You know, so you've got that sparkle, so you could completely transform it to a different theme once you've got that structure. So you can see the bulk of the inside. We've caught up with a little bit of time there. So what I'm going to do, I think majority of that is all sort of secure now. It's all in place. I'm just going to turn it over. We're going to start, where did I start? That one. And then I'm going to add those pieces because I've got them all done and dry.
Ah, yeah, those glitter ones,
The ones that we glittered at the beginning. Okay, so these are all done. They've all had the ink round the edge again, and then they've had the glitter paste
So would
on.
you ink around the edge after the glitter's dry?
Yeah, inked first, and then do the glitter paste over the top.
All right, glitter's gone over the ink.
And again, because this has got glitter on and the glitter's water-based, you sometimes get, these have been done long enough now that they've flattened out again, but you sometimes get a little bit of wrinkling where the water absorbs into the paper. So I've got a strip of red line tape down that side underneath where the glitter is. But because they've been done a while and they've been in my, my box ready to bring to here, they have flattened out nicely. But I'm going to use that on that side. And then again, we're still on the old paper to card, paper to paper. So it's going to be
collal.
The collal, of course. So again, this is going to come in. I've cut these just slightly shorter.
All right, so you've got a border.
So that we still see some of that red.
Perfect.
And these are going, they're all the same.
Crafty Chimp says, I would love to have a crafting session with Jan. We have such similar tastes in crafting. If Jan's organising crafty sessions, I'm up there before you. I want a crafty session in Jan's craft room.
If I could get my craft room clean enough space in there, we could actually start and have some classes, couldn't we?
Be fantastic, wouldn't it?
And I apologise to anybody that's too far away, but I know there's a lot of you are local, or reasonably local.
Loads of love for this. Stephanie's saying brilliant. Chris is saying fabulous. We've just got Mary Pat 1000 in. She's saying Janet looks stunning. Kathy Myers, she labels all of her stuff too. Oh, so much. Everyone is saying lovely. Oh, and Jan and I have already done it, but Stephanie is saying, shout out to Debbie Robinson, happy birthday. Hope you made it to the pub.
She sure is.
Oh, she at the pub?
I don't know what she's doing. I've not spoken to her.
I know you sent a message. I sent a message to her. Oh, she's gone for breakfast at the pub. Oh, that's very nice.
Why not?
All three meals out.
I don't
why
blame
not?
her.
It's her birthday.
Don't blame
Jane Byford, yes, my dress is on the right way. We checked that this morning, Jane, and she's loving the show. And she says, Jan is so informative, thank you. Sandra Peake's loving the box, learning so much. Miriam said, it is so beautiful. She makes it so simple. Thank you for teaching us how to make it. Tess says, this is in line with my creative style. So beautiful, says Anne Clark. I could carry on reading. All the comments are all along the same sort of ilk. Everyone is loving it.
Right, it doesn't really matter which way around this goes. I'm literally just copying my my original one. Again, you can see. Oh, excuse me. I do need to just grab a quick. Do you know there's a drink appeared? Look, and I never even noticed.
Did you notice you brought a cuppa a few minutes ago?
Our Liv's like on it, isn't she, Bessa?
She is. She's a good girl.
So yeah, exactly the same. You can see that theme. I wanted to keep a theme with regards to the circles, to those same embellishments with the little little fronds and things. You know, you can see these again are the same pieces in the same colour, so that you've got that consistency through it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do the front section on here, and again I've got those bits of cardboard on the back because I wanted to create a bit of raised area. And then again I've got some more. I'm not going to do all the rest of the sides because those are fairly straightforward, but I've got some more of those offcuts. So again, keeping that theme, keeping it all sort of like running through the whole project, so that you've got, they don't have to be on every single piece, but they are going to be sort of running through it. Now these were the shorter sides that I'd cut off, so it doesn't go all the way across, but this is going on here anyway, so it doesn't matter. All right.
Yes.
So
It's
that
all
one's
a trick of the eye.
It sure is, and like there's no right or this is what I love about crafting. There is no right or wrong. If you want to have a go at this and watch it back and do your own version of it, I would love to see what people are doing out there.
Different pads,
If I
different
can
colours.
just inspire somebody to have a go, then I've done my bit, you know. So again, I'm going to pop a little tiny piece of that hot glue at the top there. I've got those same two pieces that we had. You've just seen me do this on the inside. Okay, pop that into place. And then I've got red bells on the one on the sample, but these have got little greens. So these were part of the 'Twas the Night collection last year. There was a massive embellishment pack that came with it, including the little bells. So again, those are just going to go.
A couple of years ago, I needed something like 3 bells, and I found them off the internet, and it was a bag of 300. Guess what? I've got plenty of.
I've got some little tiny ones at home that I got off the internet, but yeah, these are part of I've tried to use things that were in our collections. So I've done a little bit of extra embellishment around here, again, keeping that theme, but I didn't want to go to town on all this. I wanted it to have a front focal point, so I've just used some buttons and the flat back pearls again, just to seal where that piece was a wee bit shorter and make a feature of the fact that it's shorter, and that's the same pretty much on each side for the outside. The base were originally wooden buttons, and again I think these came with one of the collections years and years ago. There was a collection that had wooden buttons in it, I'm sure there were. And all I've done is literally just colour them with one of my alcohol markers. So they were actually quite a pale colour, and I've just gone with one of my brown alcohol markers. I've used the hot glue, and again I've just got those, you can see exactly the same underneath. All right, just to give it a base. So we're okay there. Now the centre, again I've got that main piece underneath here, you can see. Now I'm going to leave this bit to later to see if we can get it done. I've actually used the sisal and the moss, and this was actually a Dreamies product as well. When we had Dreamies coming in a couple of years back and we were having the guests in, I did a lot of their shows, and again I'd got this that I hadn't used, and I've put in there some little bits of pine cone. These are from that same embellishment pack from last Christmas, and then I've just cut a couple of numbers. Obviously the 25 theme again, the red cardstock, and I've done the back and front because you can see it, and I've sandwiched a craft card layer in between, so again these are quite substantial. And then I've built that little nest for those to stand in. Now I'm going to come back to that if we've got time, because the last thing I want to show you is the making of the lid. Okay, now because it's actually like a freestyle box, you don't have to worry about that. Which side of the board am I scoring the lid on? So I've just done it on the box lid, okay? I knew it was going to fit. I made sure that this was just a fraction bigger. So for example, I know my box was 3 3/4 inches square. I think I actually did this at 3 7/8. So it's just 1/8 of an inch bigger all the way around, just to make sure, because if you do it the same size, when you come to put it together, like so, and the lid's the same size, you'll find that some of the sides start to buckle because they're forced inwards. So I didn't want that. So this is actually fits quite freely, but it's strong enough to hold it together. So yeah, just 1/8 of an inch bigger. And then again, decide how deep. You know, you might want the sides to come halfway down the box and just have a little bit of embellishment. No rules as to how much it should be. I actually went with, I think it was 1.25 inches.
It's worth thinking about that before you start decorating the sides, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, which is why I did my embellishment down towards the bottom and not in the middle again, because obviously I knew the lid was going to come so far down. So you can see I've got this done. I've done the usual scoring, just like we would do if we were going to do a box lid. Pop my pieces on, and I've got that same setup again for the front. So I've got that piece of red vintage out of the vintage snowman.
So, yeah, so that just goes, Crafty Chimp was saying, I missed the beginning of the show. Hopefully, Crafty Chimp, you'll be able to watch back. She says, what is the card paper Jan is using with the bubbles on? I think she's baubles on. It's all from the Vintage Snowman.
Either Vintage Snowman or the...
yes, that was right. There was
Season's Greetings.
Season's Greetings.
So the baubles, the vintage, the burgundy one was the reverse of one of the Vintage Snowman collection.
Ah, yeah.
Got a lovely pattern on the other side, but I wanted the plain. And then the one with all the green and the baubles on is from the Season's Greetings.
Right.
So you've got a lovely selection in here that's got all those lovely Christmas patterns. I think it was this one that I used.
Perfect, thank you. There you go, Crafty
No
Chimp.
problem. Please ask if you've got any questions. That's what we're here for. So again, I've got a load of bits and pieces that I've used on the top of it. Some of it that was the feet. We'll do those later if I get time. I want to put the centre back in. I think I've got one of those little tag pieces again somewhere.
Are the centres out because that's how the die cuts it?
Yes.
Right,
yes,
sorry, I
the
missed
die
that at the
actually
beginning.
has a cutting edge here, so it cuts the middle out.
Right.
So you get a frame, and there are 3 different sizes in that set. There's a square one and there's a rectangular version of it. I love them.
But you wanted a solid mat.
I wanted the solid piece, so I've actually putting them back together. So again, I'm just looking at the orientation, and I'm actually going to put them back together. But I like the fact that I could trap that little tag in it rather than it be... So again, we're going to do the same again. We're going to pop the rectangle, the square piece down first, the frame. Yeah. And then I'm going to trap that little tag. So again, this is going to go on the top. And then before we put this piece in, like so, I'm just going to pop that one. And again, that's just one of those from that stamp set. So again, if you don't have anything like this, you may have a piece of paper that's got tags on. Don't be afraid to cut into it. Cut them out, you know. As I say, all I did, some of mine I just get straight from the internet, and I've just typed in, you know, tag stamps.
I just had a look while you were doing it, and oh goodness me, so many came up.
Yeah, yeah, and they're not mega expensive. But it's all these little things that just sort of go together to make this kind of collage design where you're making the elements. So again, keeping it in keeping with the inside, we've got another one of those little tags. They are slightly different numbers because that sheet, they were all different. I said I'd use the lamppost from that same die set, and I've done the same. I've cut it twice, and then I've added the gilding wax to it again. Now we're going to trim that down. I don't need that in its full length, so I'm just going to trim the bottom off that one because I only need part of it here.
Is that one layer of card or a couple of layers?
For the lamppost, couple of layers, yeah. So anything like that that I'm making as an embellishment, I usually cut twice. So easy to do when you've got a die. If it was something else that had been fussy cut, I'd maybe think twice about it, but anything that's die cut, they're just so simple to stick together. I've also got the Season's Greetings, so I'm going to pop that, again, that same green cardstock as what we used. If you remember, we did the Merry Christmas on the inside. So I'm going to pop that down so that I can make sure I can see that at the top. So Season's Greetings. Whoops. Take that end as well. And then I want to pop that right down at the bottom here so that I've got plenty of space to put all the other bits and pieces.
Is this the sort of thing that you would definitely lay out as you're working before you stick?
Yes.
And I'm sure you rejected ideas.
All my projects, whether it's a card or anything like this, I would always lay it out dry before I decide where anything's going. And the number of times you move things round and think, oh no, I'll have that at that side, I'll do this, I'll do that. You know, it just, Again, no right or wrong. You can decide where you want things to go. But it's just what's pleasing to your eye. And, you know, I might do a collage of things and you might think, oh, I prefer that the other way around. That's absolutely fine. Or you might want to replace one of the items with something else that you've got in your stash. That's what it's all about. It's just to encourage you to have a go. And as I say, if any of you do decide to have a go with it and make anything like this, please send it me and let me have a look.
Stephanie said, I love the vintage look, but could see this done in other colours as well.
Yep,
very
absolutely.
much so.
So again, I've just got a couple of these bits that we've done before, and I'm just going to position those in place, ready to have the other things on top. And then I've got that little lamp there. So I'm using really, anything that was just the paper and cardstock, I've used the collal all-purpose. And then the rest of it, I've used a mixture of my tacky glue and then the hot glue, which is your friend. I've just caught the pin there and I don't know where it went. I'll find that in a second. So this one's going to go down towards that greeting. And then I think we're about ready to put the label back on now. So again, that one's going to go to one side, just covering so that that little frond comes out from underneath it there. And then I made another one of those little spools with the twine, just again linking it all together with what we've got on the inside. So that is literally, it will naturally want to curl where it's been round the bobbin. So again, all you do is follow those curls and just wrap it so that all three of them are slightly different sizes. So you can see there I've got like 3 little circles that are all slightly different size. And then we're going to pop that down into a little bit. And anything like this is where the hot glue comes in, because you've got that instant stick going on. So that one's going to go in there ready. Please don't use your fingers to tack it down. And I'm saying that because I've done it and I know what it feels like. Okay, so we've done that bit, we've done that bit. I've got some more pearls and things going on. And then I've got my poinsettia to go, and it's a double one this time. So some of them were double, some of them were single. Try not to cover up my greeting underneath. I've got a couple of the little holly leaves again that have all had that same sort of tweaking just to give them a bit of dimension. So again, either round your finger or round your, I tend to use my pokey tool or end of a paintbrush, anything like that that you've got just to give it a bit of dimension. And those are going to go in there, like so. As I say, don't worry about those little glue hairs. We can get rid of all those at the end. And then again, just keeping the theme, I've got that little heart that I cut for one of the inside pieces. So we're going to use that one on the bottom here, just to bring it all together. And then again, that metal drawer, this is one that I think I got from one of my local shops. It was a card all the same. There was about 9 on it, and it just says live, laugh, love. So again, it wasn't particularly Christmassy, but it was what it just needed something in the gap, and that fit in there. So again, nice sort of dollop of the hot glue this time. And then I'm going to pop that one and just tuck it under the edge of that poinsettia there. And then the embellishment pack that I was talking about had all these gorgeous little berries in. So you've got all the little frosted ones and things like that. So I just used a couple of the red and one of the gold. And again, that pokey tool comes in handy because use this bit as a feature. So all I do is pop it up near the top and hold it with my thumb and then wrap, avoiding the point, but just wrap it round so that you've actually got an extra little bit of embellishment there. And again, I'm going to do that with a couple of the red ones as well, because we can. And these are all frosted. There are some plain red in there as well. There's some frosted gold. So again, you know, whatever theme you've done, if you happen to have got these in that kit from last year and you weren't sure what to do with them, just some ideas for you. So I'm doing the same with all 3 of them, just to get rid of those. And then again, we're just going to put some hot glue on the back of these. We'll go with the red ones first. So again, just a little bit of glue on the back, and then stick those in place. So we've got one. And as I say, the beauty of the hot glue is that it is pretty much stuck. And that's what I like about it. You do need to be careful with it. And yes, I've burnt my fingers on many occasions, but just be aware that it is hot. It's called hot glue for a reason. So that one's going to go in there, and then we're going to have the little gold one in that side there. So again, rather than try and judge where to put that bit, I'm going to put the glue in the gap. And that one can just squidge in together. And then just to finish off, we've got the obligatory flat back pearls. I think we're just about going to get the last out of the glue. And I do need to remember to fill it up ready for the next show. Again, there's that sort of rule of three. 3 things look pleasing to the eye, but I very rarely put all 3 of them together. So I've got a couple of them, different sizes, and then the third one's going to go further up. Okay, so you can see that one. Pop those away. Got a right old mess to clear up when I've done, haven't I? And then we're going to take, just like we would do with any normal box, we're going to take the liner off the tabs, pop the lid together. That was freaking me out. My bag was moving by itself then.
Was it?
Yeah, it was sort of creeping across the table. I don't know what was going off there.
Bit static.
Yeah, I think so. It was like, I'm like, why are you moving all by yourself? So again, just to make, just like you would do any normal box lid for this one. So just to give that a nice seal. Make sure you've got that nice right angle on the corners. And then when we bring in the one that we've got here, that way, these are all going to fold onto the inside together. And then your lid, where did my front one go there, is going to go and seal them all together. So we're going to have a little break, and then there should just be enough time to put the feet on and then do the inside with the numbers.
Oh, that would be absolutely gorgeous. Thank you. Lots and lots of love. Sue Cummins, good morning from a very chilly Chestertown, Maryland. Donna Torres, hi, Jan and Corrine. I love watching you, Jan. Jan, you're amazing, she says. Jessica says, love this box. I don't have the vintage snowman. I do have the Frosty and Bright collection. Yeah, I think that would look
terrific.
Pinks and turquoises and colours.
very, very
lovely.
Sort of wintry.
Yeah, and Laurel loves the tip about the glue hairs. Yeah, I always say that when you're doing your flowers, don't worry about those. Right, okay, we're going to have a very quick break. It won't be very long because it's nearly 22, so we've only got about 20 minutes left? Yes, we have.
I know.
So we better be quick.
Crazy.
At least we don't have to do a demo of the show, so that's nice and easy. And we'll see you back on the other side of this in just a couple of minutes.
Here at Crafters TV, it couldn't be easier to get social with us. Whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, on your TV or tablet, you can get so close to the action, it's like you're in the studio with us. You can ask questions about products or crafty techniques. Get hints and tips from our expert demonstrators. Plus, share pictures of your crafty makes with our amazing community. Crafters TV, getting you closer to the crafty action.
Hi, I'm Ben from Crafters TV. As you may know, we've just launched an amazing new website, our new home of papercraft to house all of your crafty needs. And as we've had a bit of a makeover, I'm here today to show you how to check out Crafters TV on our sparkling new website, including how to watch live, catch up with previous shows, and how to view the latest schedules. So, let's get started. First, go to the Crafters Companion homepage. Select the correct location at the top of the page. Click the Crafters TV icon on the top right-hand side of your screen. To watch the show live on the website, click the Watch Now button in the middle of your screen. You'll be taken to the relevant show page where you can watch the show, shop the show, and shop shop the day at your leisure. To view the Crafters TV schedule, click the View Our Schedule button in the middle of your screen. You'll be taken to the TV schedule where you can browse each date plus all of the shows that are on that day. You can then click on each show to be taken to a page where you can watch and shop the show. If you want to catch up on a previous show, hit the Catch Up button on the purple Crafters TV bar. Then you can scroll down to see all of the previous Crafters TV shows from recent days. If you're looking for something specific, you can click the Craft Expert, Craft Area, Shows and Date filters just above the list of shows. Take a moment to browse until you see the show you want to catch up on, then click onto the show. You'll then be taken to the catch-up page where you're free to watch the show and check out all of the crafty goodies on our Shop the Show and Shop the Day pages. Enjoy!
What makes Crafters TV so special is you guys.
It's really special because the experts are really experts. They're really skilled at what they do, and they want to make sure that the audience also improves on their skills.
Crafters TV is so special because you've got together a really sort of key group of people and people that are very passionate about the products.
Crafters TV is so special because it's a unique community that we have with each other where we can learn and grow and communicate with each other.
Community, the family spirit, the education, everything to do with craft. We are all like-minded people who share a passion.
I love all the inspiration the demonstrators bring and all the knowledge for us out here.
What makes Crafters TV so special, 100%, is the interaction. No other crafting TV channel or show has the same interaction.
I love the community, I love chatting live, I think that's the best part. And it's gone beyond crafting because we've become friends.
It feels to me to be a really, really close relationship with our customers and viewers.
You guys make us feel like we're part of your family. I've never been on the show before, but one of my friends who I did meet from CCTV encouraged me, and I was on the craft along.
A massive team of people, and I think they've all got their role to play, and it just brings everything together. It allows us to do our job and just love it.
The people, obviously. The people not just here at Crafts Companion, but the viewers that watch us. I mean, everybody. We have this real magical essence about it.
Bye for now. Bye.
And welcome back to the last little segment of this show. Right now, Jan is going to show you how she puts the finishing touches to it, and she's going to show you maybe you haven't got things like the moss, she's got maybe an alternative that you could use. So we'll go back to Jan and she can show you how she puts all the finishing touches on.
Right. At the beginning, I didn't think we were going to get this far, which is why I skipped the centre bit. I was just going to talk you through it, but looking at the time, we should have just about enough time. So this was my original one. All right, for anybody that was just joining in. And in the inside, I'd actually used the pack of sisal and moss, which again was a Dreamies product that we had a couple of years back when the girls were actually coming and doing some demos and things. Now I'm going to show you, I'm aware that some people won't have that. So I was looking at other, sort of options that you could do, and then nestled inside there were the two numbers, the 25, that I'd die cut out to go in the middle. So we're going to do that, and then also all my little red poinsettias I'd actually tret to a coating of the glitter glue as well. So we'll do a little bit of that as well, just to finish off. So that's the one that's already finished. This is the one that we've just made. So we've got all the top section done. The only bit that I hadn't done was the extra pieces on the sides, but again, that's not too much of a worry. And then we've got all 4 spaces done inside. So what I was going to do was have a look. I'd brought some just tissue paper as an alternative. So I've got a green tissue paper. Now I've just said to Corrine, I says that's very bright compared to the rest of it. I've scrunched it all up, and then I've just tret it to a quick whiz over with my same ink, just to dull it off a little bit. I just wanted it sort of less bright green because all the other colours that I'd used were quite a muted tone. And I'm actually going to try and squidge this. It is still a little bit wet in places, but we'll go for it. So I'm going to use, I think we're just about ready for another, I think the glue stick, we're nearly ready for that in there. But I'm just going to put plenty of hot glue in the centre of here. Now I didn't bother putting the extra green die cut layer on this one because the majority of it is covered up. So where we'd done all the others and we'd put that lovely scalloped piece in, I didn't bother in the centre. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and stick this into the middle here, tuck all those edges in so that there's no raw edges showing. Again, if you get those strandy bits, we can always deal with that with the heat tool afterwards, and literally just make like almost like a little nest in the centre. So again, make sure you've got the glue covered up. Got a few of those strands in there. I've got the
you can
ink
go in and add more glue as well, I guess, can't you? If it's not holding down.
Absolutely. I've just got some of that because the ink was wet. I've still got some of that on me now. So again, yeah, we can just literally, you know, if it's not in the right place, I need to have a gap in the middle because we're going to sink those numbers into it. But wherever you have got, you know, a little gap, like Corrine says, just pop a little bit more glue and tuck it in so that it wants to be confined in that centre square, because obviously the sides are going to fold in. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that now. And then all I'm going to do is nestle these down in the centre of it here. So in the tissue, we can actually pop those inside. So again, I'm going to put just a layer of hot glue right along the bottom of the numbers. You want a decent amount of glue on there because we're literally going to push those into that tissue paper and hold them in for a second because you want that to stay in place. And then we're going to do the same with the 5. So again, just around that bottom edge. And then I've just got them slightly overlapped in the centre just to help stabilise each other.
Lots of love coming in for the box. So
and
much
then
love.
push that tissue round it just to keep it together. Now I had got a few little extra embellishments in there. You can just see in this one where I've nestled a couple of those little berries again. There's a pine cone, there's a little bow in the back of there, but I'm just going to skip that bit for now because I want to show you the glitter glue as well. So anywhere that I'd got the poinsettias, I've just used some of the red, which is from the Festive Frost collection. You get the red, that lovely green, and you get one of the Aurora ones in there, the sparkling ice. And again, all I've done with this is pop some out onto a carrier, whether it's your mat or an acrylic block or whatever it is. And then I'm actually going to use an old paintbrush. Because the glue's water-based, I'm just going to use a little tiny bit of it, and wherever I've got those red elements, you can just add. Now again, you know, you can say, well, you could have just cut them out of glitter card. You could, absolutely, if that's what you want to do, but what's the fun in that? You know, we were looking at mixed media, so again, incorporating in as many of those products as we could get.
And you do this after they've been put on rather than before?
Yes, it was sort of, I was sat looking, thinking, what else can I do? What else can I use? And realised that I hadn't used the glitter glue anywhere. Now, it may be that you want to add some of the glitter glue to make the flat back pearls. You can make glittery pearls with it. You must then leave it to dry. Obviously, it takes a little while to dry. But I thought, what can I actually do? And I just thought this added a really nice little festive touch. As I say, wherever I've got that red cardstock. And then just make sure that you wash the brush out pretty much straight away because it is a glue. So it will set in your brush, but if you rinse it out, I didn't have any trouble with it coming out of the brush at all. So again, I'm going to put a little bit on those red berries there. And then on the lid, we've got that poinsettia on the lid again. So again, just adding.
Really doesn't take much, does it?
It doesn't. You could see, you know, the bit that I squeezed out there was probably less than the size of one of those berries, and it's done all those poinsettias. I'm going to go across the heart as well on the front, just because it's that front detail. Again, just dabbing it on. And it's just subtle. There's not a lot in there. And then, as I say, just make sure that when you've finished what you're doing with that, that you do rinse your brush out. So I've just got my water spray there. I'm just going to give it a good swish in there and a good wipe, just to get the bulk of it, because if you leave the glue in it, then the bristles will set. And obviously you end up with like a stump rather than a brush. But as long as you've got them bristles nice and soft again, that's going to be fine. So again, get rid of the extra bits. And then underneath, which I'm hoping we should be able to get to, she says, maybe I should have done that bit first instead of sticking the bits in the middle. But I think if we actually pop this...
If you put the lid on, will it be better and turn it upside down that way?
Yeah, I think if we actually pop it together like so. And then I'm going to, that'll work. As I say, it's all about improvisation. So where all the embellishments are, I'm going to sit it in there, like so. Oops.
Wow, there's always a way, isn't there?
There's always a way. And then, like I said, these were just wooden buttons that came, I'm sure.
I think I've got them, and they're quite an orangey brown to begin with.
I'm sure they came in one of the collections, but all I've done is taken an alcohol marker in the dark brown and just literally coloured them. I had to bleach my fingers afterwards, but that's the story of my life, because I'm always covered in some kind of product. And again, I'm going to go with the hot glue. Now, if you're really precious about it, you can measure as to where you want them to go. I'm literally just going to come in slightly from the corners. Now, you do get a little bit of the glue pop through the holes, but I don't mind that. It adds like a... And it's underneath anyway, you know, so nobody's going to actually see it. You know, if you really don't want it to do that, then you could add like a little disc of card in the middle if you wanted to cover those. As I say, there's always a way. Sometimes it takes a second or two to get there, but there's always a way around things. You know, if you don't have something, like the lady that messaged in and said, you know, if you don't have the frames, die cut 3, 4, 5 times and stick them together, and you're making yourself like almost like a little wooden embellishment with the card together. So again, we've got those where they are. And then, as I say, towards the end, when you've finished, just your heat tool on a low setting, and wherever you've got any of those strands of glue, just go over it with the heat tool, and you'll find that they just dissolve, literally, and just disappear. So wherever you've got any.
Right, then it needs to be a low heat setting.
Very low and very quick, because obviously if you concentrate on it, you're going to start singeing things.
And you melt your glue back up.
Yeah.
I've done that before. I've tried to do it.
Yeah, so very, very quick. Just a quick, it doesn't take long at all, just a quick whack, but they just dissolve into nothingness then. So again, let's move that one out of the way. That was my sort of prototype. And then we've pretty much, apart from that extra decoration in the middle, you've got that. We've got the little pieces for the side. If I just show you what I did for the benefit of anybody that wants to add that last little bit of detail. Again, it was just using remnants that I had left on my desk. And I just used, you can just see those strips. And then rather than lots more embellishments, because this is technically the sides and the back, I've just been in and used a couple of buttons and another little flat back pearl. Changed the colour of them so that they were all colours that fixed in with it, and just made that a theme on the other 3 sides there. So that was the one that I did at home. So that's the only thing that's missing off here. But again, that lovely texture paste on there just speaks for itself. So we've used the glitter paste as a medium. We've used all the embellishments, whether it be wooden, metal, the little frosted berries, the cardstock itself, the washi tape, the flat back pearls, the twine, all those things, the gilding wax, all contribute to that mixed media element. And then we've just gone with that little bit of tissue inside this one, and you can just see the 25 there nestled in the centre.
Absolutely.
So that was my version of Craft Your Stash. It was incorporating lots of things that I had in my stash, which I know lots of you have got. And as I say, I think we tend to put things away, forget we've got them, get them out and have a look. What I did to start off with, the very first thing I did was have a look through the collections, and I did all the die cutting. I die cut loads of those little frondy leaves. I die cut loads of the poinsettias and the holly leaves, all those little extra bits, and I had them all out. I did the 2 bits that I wanted to stamp. I got those out out and coloured those so that I'd got a whole array of embellishments. I'd got the 2 pieces that I'd stamped separately with the numbers and the tickets on, and I cut some of those up just like I had here and inked around the edges of them, so that I'd got a whole array of embellishments at the ready, rather than thinking, right, what am I going to put on that page? I'll die cut this. I'll dig in that drawer for something else. I can't find that bit. Have them all there in front of you around your workspace, and then literally just go with that collage. You can see where I'd kept themes. We've got the gold frames in there that we did with the gilding wax. We've got the tag on here and the tag on the top of the box. The poinsettias and the holly create a theme. The twine in there appears regularly. The colour scheme. You can see how it's all linked together, and by all means, if you want to have a go at this, please do. And as I say, I would love to see any of you that have a go at it, or if you make it with a different collection or anything like that, it would be fab.
We would love to see that. Please, please pop anything that you make on social media and tag us in it. Myself and Jan, we'd love to see that. It would be brilliant. Thank you. So many people loving the box. Sheila Faulkner, Sherry Jackson, Sue Cummings saying, hope to get back to my craft room after reorganising my craft room. I might just make a space that I can craft. Hope you can. Jan, you are quite the talent. The box is amazing, says Heidi. Mary Beth Dore says, this is fantastic, Jan. So many wonderful tips and ideas. Thank you. Thank you, Jan, says Sue. Love this project, says Marianne. Fantastic project, says Crafty Chimp. Jan, you are exactly correct, says Sue Cummings. Mary Pat 1000, absolutely gorgeous, Jan. Oh, I had some more. It did a jump. Loads of people loving the box. Lots. Oh, I love this. Rosalind Russell says, Jan, give me ideas to do this on a canvas. Yes,
Absolutely.
we like that
Again,
idea.
The collage work, that's something I haven't brought to CTV yet. I have done the canvas work, but it uses a lot of products that we don't have in our range yet. Leanne is working, as you will have seen, there are lots of new mixed media products coming along, and she's working really hard at building that collection. And when we get to a point where we've got the necessary products, I will bring the canvas and show you how to do it. That again is so simple. And again, it's using things out of your stash that you probably wouldn't even, things like bubble wrap, things like bottle lids, old keys, that kind of thing. I saved them all in a box. When my children were little, they used to go to the car boot sales with their dad, and they used to come back with more than what they'd sorted out. So we brought this for Mum, and there'd be a box full of old rusty keys, and it they just knew what I was like. So yeah, just keep all those bits together as a mixed media thing. And yes, as soon as we get to a point where we've got the products to do that kind of mixed media projects, I will bring it to Crafters TV if it's within my power to do so.
Brilliant, we are loving that. And Joanne says, absolutely love the show. Thank you so much, Jan, for sharing your expertise. I think these shows, these Craft Your Stash shows, have been a massive success. As you've seen, I've not given you details of anything to buy during the show. It's all been about the inspiration, and you have been loving it. I think I've done 3 of them now. I did one with Becky, one with Craig, and today's with Jan, and the feedback has been phenomenal. You have loved these, so thank you for joining us for that. I'm sure Jan will be able to post a picture of the box so you can all see it for prosperity on social media. But if you need to get more inspiration, just watch this show back. If you watched a little video a minute ago, our Ben showed you how you can watch all the shows back at a later time. It's on the catch up button, so please. And there's a filter. I love that the filters, you can do it by show type, so you could put Craft Your Stash, by expert, so you could just do it by, filter it by Jan. So it's going to get you the show really quickly. So yeah, a wonderful way to bring it back. So Jan and I are going to disappear for an hour. I think Jan needs about 45 minutes of that to clear up her desk. But we'll be back. And we're coming back with Second Chance Sunday later. And I've seen how much stuff is out there. There's an awful lot of stuff out there that we're going to bring you back for Second Chance Sunday. Have you seen something this week that you've been thinking, maybe? Well, this is going to be your last chance, because it's all going to be a bit frenetic next week. So please come back and watch Jan and I. We are going to be doing a lot of flip-flopping backwards and forwards, but Jan has got quite a few demos to bring you as well. So we shall do those, and then we're going to have a vote for demo of the show, demo of the day, and demo of the week. I think I know already which one's won. Yeah, I'm not going to comment. It's not my vote. But let's just say that last demo was beautiful. So we shall see. We will be back in an hour. Please come and join us. And while we disappear for an hour, I think our Liam's going to come in and do a bit more jazzing up the studio because it looks amazing. Maybe Jan and I can take a couple of photos later. It's so much fun. So please take care whatever you are doing. Have a lovely hour. We're back at 6 p.m. UK time, so that's 1 p.m. on the East Coast, 10 a.m. Pacific time. We would love to have your company. It's going to be fast and frenetic. It's all about Second Chance Sunday. It's been a really busy week. There's been a lot going off, and this will give you a chance to catch back up. So have a lovely hour. We're going to put our feet up. Oh, probably not put feet up. Jan's, she's already started the putting away.
I'm
but
trying.
wow, she's pretty organised, so it
made a
won't take
mess.
too long. She hasn't made that much mess. It's just a Jan mess. It's not too bad. So please come back. Thank you for your comments. I'm sorry if I haven't had time to read them all out. Promise you I've been reading them. I've been coming back and forth to Jan during the breaks, but we'll see you in an hour. Take care.